Alright, now we get into the meat of the project. And first thing we need to do is take the turntable feet off. That's pretty simple. They're just nice little screw jobs. So once you get all 4 of those off and placed somewhere safe, we can actually get going on the rest of the project. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that I've taken the feet off, I've actually already removed the screws out of this turntable, and the reason I wanted to do that before we continued is just to show you the different lengths and things like that are going on. There are 4 of these longer types of screws. They all go in the the corners of the turntable. There are 6 of these narrow head but relatively medium-sized length screw, and they're the ones that go around the edge of the turntable. And then there are something like 11, I believe, of these screws here. They have a wider head on them, and they're not quite as long as the other ones, and they go around the circumference of what looks like the underside of the platter. Now that I've gone ahead and actually removed all of the screws, I can take off the plastic, or rather rubber bottom of the turntable. Now this thing is actually quite heavy and comprises a fair amount of the weight. And you can see that the easiest way to grab a hold of the thing is to kind of grab through one of the holes and then just kind of slowly and very carefully pry it off all the way around. And you want to make sure you're a little bit careful, at least, of the wires. And this rubber base won't come completely off, so you're going to have to slide it along the wires a little bit and just place it somewhere just off in the vicinity, just like that. You're going to want to pull the ground wire back through the hole that it was in, and if you like, this is an opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, to lengthen your RCAs if you want, and you can replace them with something different. But the ground wire is kind of the important bit here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this here is the important part of the turntable. This is where the ground and RCA wires come out of. The next thing that we have to worry about is that there are 2 screws on each side of this, and then the 2 screws on the wire holder here. So I'll go ahead and remove those. So now that I've got those screws removed, the next important part here is the wire holder assembly. The wire holder assembly is important to get off, because what happens is if I can't get this assembly off, then the whole plate will not actually slide off the wires. So the easiest way to get this thing off is to turn it on its side, take the small flat blade screwdriver, and then just pry it in there under one side, and the whole thing comes off into 2 pieces just like that. Now that I've done that, I can slide the wires through the plate and the plate along the thing, and we're finally into the part of the turntable where we're going to be doing the work. Now, you can pull the ground wire back through, and it's important to sort of point out the parts of this turntable that are going to be important. The ground wire grounds in somewhere beyond down here. However, what we're going to be attaching it to is one of the grounds on the RCAs themselves, which are these wires here. This and this are the ground wires. This and this are the actual signal wires. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. These are the ones we're going to be grounding into. I personally like the far one because it's on the left channel, and for some reason that's just the way I like it. Now at this point you could choose to cut the ground wire very short here and then just reattach it like this. Personally, I don't like doing that, and as well, this is my friend's turntable, not mine, so I don't really want to completely break it. So I just will tightly wrap the wire, and then we'll tuck it in there for later use. And like I said, the reason I do this is mostly just because I get nervous when it comes to cutting wires that don't need to be cut. And there's no reason to cut this, because there's no major loss in doing this the way that it is. So I assume at this point that you have some kind of soldering knowledge. This wire looks like it needs to get stripped, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and get prepped for solder. Okay, so I've got my wire prepped now. You'll notice that I've only stripped off about a 1/4 of an inch of the insulation there, and you don't need much because it's just going to get soldered into this bit here. So once again, sorry, my hand was in the way. It's going to get soldered into this bit over here. Now, at this point, I assume that you've got some basic soldering knowledge. I'm not going to show you how to do the soldering. I leave that up to you. Well, that went fairly well. Quick touch with the solder, and of course, things are soldered together just there. So here's a close-up of the finished work. Went pretty well. Just a quick solder joint into the one side onto the left ground. Doesn't have to be superbly spectacular. Just make sure you don't hold it there too long, and then that's it. So of course, reassembly is the reverse of assembly. At this point, we don't have to worry about getting that ground wire back through there. So you can go ahead and you can snug this on, and as you've noticed, I've tucked in my little bit of wire there, so you just have to kind of make sure that it's out of the way of the plate when it comes back down. Alright, I want to make one more note here before we close up, and that's in regards to if you're using a power drill like this to help you assemble and disassemble the turntable. Make sure you take the time on reassembly to set the clutch on the thing. I've got mine set to number 2. As well, this is a dual transmission, or rather has 2 gears drill, so I have it set to the low gear so that it's not spinning all that fast. The reason being, you just don't want to over tighten things. That would be damaging to your turntable. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have successfully removed the grounding wire of a standard Technics 1200 turntable. Enjoy your brand new grounding wire free life. If you have any questions, make sure you stop by the site at mixaddicts.com. You can drop me an email at ryan@mixaddicts.com if you have any specific questions to this one. Otherwise, come on by, post on the forums and in the section where this will be, and we'll be happy to answer your questions there. Have a good day.